All right, all right. Welcome, everyone, once again to the Brazuka F1 E-Racing League. My name is Sterling C. Beard, broadcasting to you live here on a beautiful sunny day from the Metroplex in Texas in the United States, where it is a beautiful, beautiful cloudless sky. But I am in my apartment calling a racing league, and here we go. Today we are at the Imola track, and we have a one-shot qualifier followed by 63-lap race. So each racer right now is currently in their own instance, which is why the screen blacks out when I swap between folks. Go ahead and get the screen set up for everyone. We're watching Wellito_London right now here today. Have not seen him in our broadcast just yet. This will be the first time. We have also got some new folks here. X-Ghost 9568, for example, have not seen X-Ghost race just yet. We've got Rudy Sacchetti. We've got Dude Height 92, Sergio 1906, Lucas, Eufapio. We've got the whole gang here. We've got a full field. It looks like 17 racers, or as close to a full field as we're probably going to get. So we have a one-shot qualifier here because this race is so long. Everybody, of course, using soft tires, trying to get the best possible grip, flying throughout this race course. And I would expect to see these laps completed in relatively quick fashion. We can see here Wellito_London about to cross the finish line. No time here. So Wellito is going to be... yeah, here we go. Top time, Pedro Proenza with a 1:15.284. And it'll take us straight into the race. Sergio 1906 Lucas, however, disqualified from the session. I'm not sure if he didn't load in and therefore didn't get a chance to race, which would be unfortunate, but looks like we'll have a field of 16. So here we are. Here is our grid for this race. Pedro Proenza in first, Soldier One Assault in the Gender Reveal Special Racing second, Dreamer 1609 third, X-Ghost 9568 fourth, Africano Sul fifth, Aslosiqua. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name for our sole Mexican racer today, so I'm just going to call him Az. Of course, Hiron Pelosi, 7th, Iceman Los, 8th, 9th is Esca 0606, Joni Happy, 10th, Tahariel and Rudy Sacchetti, 11th and 12th, Yestem Takifaini, 13th, and Eufapio in 14th. All right, here we go, Imola. Now, the Imola track, it looks like we'll have pretty clear weather for this, so I would expect a relatively clear racing, a relatively clean event today, especially given the sheer number of straightaways. The curves here, a little more kind of sloping, not really that tight. I don't really see that much in the way of chicanes looking at the track. So it should be a pleasant, competitive race today. Fingers crossed we won't see the safety car out too much. And of course, knowing the way this game works, it'll throw us right to the starting line. All right, here we are. All right, here we go. In first, we got Soldier One Assault, or Pedro Proenza, excuse me, Soldier One Assault right behind. Nice bunched up pack here at the beginning, heading into the first turns. Pedro Proenza still up there. Joni Happy overtakes Tahariel, moves into 10th place. Africano Sul overtakes Dreamer 1609. We see some movement here in the back of the pack towards 11th place. Let's go ahead and get our details set up. All right, interval telemetry enabled, lap data enabled, track map, full track map. We do see a caution flag out. It looks like Rudy Sacchetti had some trouble. You can see his red dot at the very back of the pack there. Might have spun out, might have slipped off course, had some issues. We do see a lot of racers swinging a little wide on that turn in Section 2. We've got another problem. Hiram Pelosi having a bit of an issue. All over the place. He's gone translucent. So Hiram Pelosi drops back to 17th. Rudy Sacchetti passes. So pack still mostly compressed up the front, especially in about the 7th through 12th positions. Pedro Proenza still up at the top as we cut back to his camera here, watching him as he goes through the first lap. Now we've got 63 laps today. Fastest lap 1:21.427 by Pedro Proenza. So a little bit slower than qualifying times, which you might expect, just given the the racers on the field at this point. But given the fact that we've only got each lap's taking about a minute 20 or a minute 15 or so, I would expect we're going to have a little bit over that amount of time today in the actual race. So let's see here. If my math is going to math out right, we'll have 63 times 1.3, I suppose. So we have, and I ran that in my Brave browser, and instead of giving me a math result, it gave me the Wikipedia page for Clay Fighters 63 1/3, which was not what I wanted. So yeah, we're looking at about an hour and 20 racing time today, 80 minutes or so, assuming of course we don't have a ton of issues with the safety car. So it is interesting to see the pack really kind of compress in the mid part of Section 3, but we can see the pack kind of separating out a little bit. We have Rudy Sacchetti, Dude Height, and Hyman Pelosi battling out there. All right, Pedro Proenza, again, fastest lap, brings it down to a minute 19, so a 2-second improvement or so over his previous fastest lap. We can see Africado Sul, Soldier One Assault neck and neck. Of course, not far behind them is Ghost 9568. Again, first time we are seeing Ghost in this race. Az is in 5th, followed by Dreamer 1609, Eska 0606 in 7th. So we do see some movement there. Tahariel moving up to 11th. We do have a caution out in Sector 1, and it looks like we might have a problem with Joni Happy, perhaps? I think it was, who might have had some issue there. But no penalty flags out. Eufapio already shifting and pitting in 17th place. Not sure. He's currently 0 laps in on soft tires. Of course, most of the field at this point using medium or hard tires. The vast majority using medium. Dreamer 1609, Tahariel, and Sergio Lucas, the only racers using hard. Eska 0606 in 7th place currently, but using soft tires. So looking to maybe take an interesting unorthodox pitting strategy today. Pedro Proenza trying to open up a bit of a lead here, about 4.5 seconds ahead of Africado Sul. And at this point, despite these being relatively long straightaways, they do have a little bit of a gentle slope to them. So about 4.5 seconds in front of Africado Sul. Africado Sul barely visible as we check out the rear racing camera. We'll see if Pedro tries to really stretch this advantage, gain a psychological edge on folks in 2nd and 3rd place. At this point, pack very spread out now. Wellito London, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Wellito currently in 10th position. We'll go ahead and check down there and see what's going on. Ghost overtakes Africado Sul, moving into 2nd place. So nothing immediately obvious here. Maybe exceeding the track limits, but Wellito just flying like a demon around some of these corners. And that could, of course, be, I can't tell if that's because he's exceeding the track limits, or it could just be the way the game is rendering his driving for me. Race control, Sergio 1906, Lucas, multiple warnings, 3-second time penalty. Pedro Proenza again setting a fastest lap, 1:19.430, just a couple of hundredths ahead of where he was last time. So nobody able to quite bear down and chop off those extra 4 or so seconds in their trial that some people were setting in their trial lap. But of course, it's a heck of a lot easier to set a really fast time in your trial lap when you're the only person on the course in your own instance. So let's go ahead and check out back up front here. Pedro Parenza 6.506 over Ghost 95.68. Really looking to push and make his make a statement here early. Ghost, of course, in the Orange Crush, trying to fight off Africado Sul as Eska 0606 and Soldier One Assault, all within a few seconds of him. Race control, Eufapio, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Eufapio here in 17th place, about 17.7 seconds behind 16th place Joni Happy. Kind of on his lonesome out on the course today. Pedro Proenza still in first, 6.5 seconds, 6.6 seconds. We'll see how long this lead holds up. Of course, Pedro using medium tires here rather than hard tires, so at some point he will need to pit. This is a very long race, 63 laps. As a matter of fact, I believe it will be Wellito London, another 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. And we've got 3 penalty flags out for Wellito, Sergio, and Eufapio. I guess the trick is to, when it comes to getting a penalty flag, is to have your name ending in O, ending in an open vowel sound. But we do see, again, most of Wellito London 5-second penalties speeding in the pit lane. So Wellito's disqualified, it looks like. Dropping here to 12th, 13th after speeding in the pit lane. Yeah, I can't even switch to his camera. So I think Wellito might be out of the race today, which would cut our field down to 16 active racers, as we are on lap 6 out of 63, so just under a 10th finished with the race. Pedro Proenza now 7.3 seconds ahead, driving masterfully on the course today. Wellito London has left the session, so our field is down to 16 racers. So, unfortunately, it has not flashed up the little Amazon pitting strategy video that would, or graphic that would normally come up. So I don't know exactly what today's strategy will be. Of course, very clean weather today. Very nice course with a lot of straightaways. I would imagine a lot of racers probably only going to pit 2 times, if that. I would be shocked if you saw a bunch of racers pitting 3 or 4 times. As a matter of fact, nobody from 1st through 9th place has pitted yet. 6 laps in here. We do see some movement. Eska 0606 battling with Africado Sul and Az here in 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. Caution flag out. Not sure where the caution was, however. We do see movement. Hiron Pelosi overtakes his teammate Rudy Sicchetti. As a matter of fact, yes, everybody currently racing with the exception of Eufapio, 6 laps in on their tires. So everybody holding off on the pitting so far today. Eufapio, the only person I believe who has pitted thus far. Esco 606, the only person with soft tires here in the race so far. Pedro Proenza now 8 seconds ahead of 2nd place, Ghost 95.68. Ghost himself about 3.5 seconds ahead of Az. Africado Sul right on Az's tail, however. Just 0.2 seconds behind, trying to get in a position to overtake here. As a matter of fact, he kicks in the overtake as we head into the straightaway and the finish line in Section 1. Drafting right behind him, makes a move on the right-hand side. Will he overtake? Yes, he will overtake. So Africado Sul sneaking in on the right-hand side, or excuse me, Ghost sneaking in on Africado Sul's right-hand side there. Africado Sul darting to the other side, looking for an opening, but it's not there as we head into the turns in Section 1 again, moving into Section 2. We do have a caution out in Sector 1. Penalty flags out for Sergio Lucas and Eufapio. Cautions in Sector 2. I would expect that succeeding. Oh, disaster! Disaster as we see Africado Sul spin out. He goes transparent. He's got to get back into this race here. Especially with so many straightaways, people not really having to drop speed that much to get through some of these turns, which are not, with the exception really of one turn here that we see coming here, this chicane, the turn at the end of section 3, but most of this course you can kind of fly through. Hiram Pelosi, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So Apricado Sul drops to 7th when he was battling up near the top of the pack. So X-Ghost 95.68 here in the Orange Crush. About 8.7 seconds behind Pedro Proenza, trying to make up some lost time here. Now we see Yestem Takifaini overtaking Africado Sul, moving into 7th place. Africado Sul dropping back a little bit, 0.3, 0.4 seconds, back to 0.3, trying to catch up. Dude Height overtakes Tariel, moving into 11th place. Dreamer 1609 overtakes Eska. A little bit of a battle here between Eska and Dreamer 1609 as we check out the first person view from Eska's position. Chasing the Mario Brothers car, or one of the Mario Brothers car. We are already on lap 9 out of 63, so the race going fairly quickly. Again, we haven't seen the safety car come out, so this has been a quick race thus far. Boy, am I glad that y'all don't have to race Le Mans like this. I don't think I'd be able to do a 24-hour broadcast. All right, let's go ahead and check up again on Pedro Proenza. Now 9.5 seconds ahead and cruising. Race control, Sergio 1906 Lucas, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. But let's take a look here and watch in first-person view as we are midway through Sector 2 with Pedro Proenza and see how nicely he's handling this course. Race control, Pedro Proenza, 3-second time penalty now for our leader for multiple warnings. However, still a comfortable 9.5 seconds ahead of X-Ghost 95.68. Of course, 3-second penalty, that's 1/3 of what his lead is over Ghost right now. So, in actuality, if my understanding of the rules is correct here, Ghost is now only about 6 seconds behind, assuming, of course, Ghost himself does not have a 3-second time penalty. As we cross the finish line and begin lap 11 here, race control, Dude Height, a penalty for 3-second warnings. A pretty good proportion of the field now with penalty flags out. We see Pedro Proenza, Sergio 1906 Lucas, Dude Height, Hiram Pelosi, and Fabio, all with that black and white flag. Not something you want to see if you're one of the racers, of course, but again, we can see what I'm talking about here. Even these turns at the end of Sector 1, which look like they ought to be very challenging, Pedro just kind of slaloms through them very nicely, now up to 10.7 seconds ahead of Ghost 95.68. All the way through the mid part of Section 2. And here in just a moment, we may actually see Pedro Proenza come up on Fabio. He might have a chance to lap the 16th place racer, as a matter of fact. So Fabio, of course, running through the end of Section 3, doesn't want to let that happen. But Pedro now with a shocking 11.3 second lead over second place. Pedro he looks very comfortable out here. He's not hesitating. I'm not seeing a lot of uncontrolled gearing down or gearing up. And, okay, we do have a caution flag out in Sector 2. I think that might have been Sergio 1906 Lucas, but I see his dot here continue to drive anyway, so no spin out, it looks like. There we go. You could catch just the glimpse of Fabio in 16th place. The question is going to be, is Fabio going to be able to fight off Pedro Proenza and keep from getting lapped? And we can see just in the distance Fabio. We're going to go ahead and keep it here up at the top of the leaderboard, as nobody again has pitted yet outside of Fabio. Fabio using soft tires. Eska 0606 is only companion in that category, all the way up in 5th place. Everyone else is medium or hard tires. Most of the field rocking mediums right now. And here we go, coming into the quick chicane in section 3. He's Pedro Provenza, glides through it fairly easily. His lead up 12.1 seconds now. And there's his prey, Eufapio, coming around. I really think that Pedro wants this lap. I'll see if he's able to get it here as we head into the straightaway just past the finish line. I'd say currently Pedro Provenza around 3 seconds behind Eufapio. I'm just trying to manually count that, of course. It does not give a gap for Pedro Provenza. Pushing up 12.5 seconds now ahead of second place. Oh! But he flies through. Okay, he's going to get a penalty for that. He exited the course slightly on the right-hand side. Hiram Pelosi also penalized, unrelated. But Pedro actually slid to the right a little bit in section 1 and took out one of the signs there with the distance noted. My goodness gracious. I didn't realize that you could destroy those by accident. So we do see now Eufapio with Pedro Provenza right behind him. About just a second or so. Eufapio translucent here, so Pedro's going to make the move here, looking to overtake, looking on the left-hand side of Eufapio for an opening, and it is there. No overtake in for Pedro Provenza right now, but 13 seconds ahead of second place is Pedro, and pushing right on past Eufapio, lapping him successfully. So we're going to go ahead and let's check out some of the other parts of the competition here. As in third place, trailed by Dreamer 1609 and Eska 0606. As himself about 7.9 seconds behind Ghost 9568. So as driving a for Williams here, as we see everyone kind of fly through that curve at the end of section 3, heading back into section 1 as we are on lap 14 out of 63. So a little under a quarter of the way done with the race. Tahariel, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Tahariel currently in 13th. Just a solid group of racers there with flags out, penalty flags out. 10th place Sergio Lucas, Dude Height, Hiram Pelosi, and Tahariel, as does get a penalty as well for multiple warnings. So we can see here today, again, very clean race thus far. Fastest lap, Pedro Provenza down to a 1:19.362. So again, not anything available, or excuse me, not down to the fastest lap that we saw during qualifiers, but still, you know, you'd expect that using medium tires over soft tires, probably a few seconds time loss there. Ghost now 17 seconds behind Pedro Provenza. This is Pedro very comfortable here. Set the fastest laps multiple times today, and he's only getting faster, little by little, bit by bit, but each lap coming in close to or just under his fastest time, so shaving a couple of hundredths of a second off. So perhaps not too surprising. My goodness, a good proportion of the field now with caution or penalty flags out. Pedro, Az, Jestem Takifaini, Sergio, Dudehite, Hiram Pelosi, Tahariel, and Eufapio, all with caution flags out. And now we have a situation where we could see Ghost actually lap. We'll see if Ghost is able to pull it off here in the Orange Crush as we go to the first person view. There we see, I believe that is Eufapio in the distance now. Race control, ESCA 0606, time penalty, multiple warnings. And it may not seem like it's a big deal when racers do get a time penalty, but of course we did see a racer actually finish second last week, but come in first because of the difference in time penalties. So these can make a difference, especially if things are close. Rudy Sacchetti, 3-second time penalty. Of course, it helps a lot if everybody's getting a time penalty. Makes it maybe a tad easier to figure out what's going to go on here. We are on lap 17 out of 63. Eufapio slides a little off course to the left there, and Ghost is going to pass. So now it becomes a question of, will Dreamer manage to manage a lap here? Dreamer 1609 in third place, about 8.8 seconds behind Ghost. Ghost himself about 19 seconds behind Pedro Proenza. So the fiercest battle currently looks to be taking place in about 4th through 6th place, or 4th and 5th place here, where we see Az and Eska right on each other's tail, of course. Az also right behind Dreamer 1609, so really 3rd through 5th place. Joni Happy gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Az with the overtake in here, looking to catch up at the straightaway, but he gets passed on the inside by, it looks like, Jestem Taki, no, excuse me. We do see Soldier One Assault overtaking Ice Manlos, Apricot Sul also moving up, so I stand a little bit corrected as Ice Manlos does go into pit here, and he starts to come back out. The weather is shifting. Ice Manlos makes the decision to swap quickly to intermediate tires rather than wets, so we'll see if that pays off. He's made a very quick, I would expect almost snap decision to switch to intermediate tires as we see rain start to fall. Ice Manlos now out in 14th position, but he could be positioned well given how the weather has taken a turn for the worse. Pedro Proenza 21 seconds in, or excuse me, 21 seconds ahead, electing not to pit despite the weather taking a turn. So 18 laps in for Pedro Proenza. He's 19 laps in total on these tires. Well, I guess the way it counts one less. So we are on lap 19th out of 63. So almost a third of the way done with the race. Just another 2 laps here and we'll be pretty much there. All right, we do see Ghost also pitting, shifting to intermediate tires, joining Ice Manlos. Pedro now opening up a 33-second lead over Dreamer 1609. Given that Ghost chose to pit and fall back. Ghost, however, coming out in 5th or 5th place, it looks like currently. Soldier One Assault making some moves, battling with Jestem Takifaini here. Jestem, however, a lot of racers now choosing to pit. Jestem choosing to pit. Apricot Sul, Soldier One Assault, DRS disabled by the race control. Lots of movement here as so many people are pitting. Apricot Sul, Soldier One Assault, Sergio, Tahariel, Dudehite, Rudy Sacchetti, and Eufapio all choosing to pit. Now the majority of the field using intermediate tires. Hiram Pelosi still using mediums. Pedro Proenza 35 seconds ahead, now chooses to pit. This will be a situation where Dreamer might be able to make up a little bit of lost time as Pedro is shifting to the pit. So 35 seconds, though, a long time, and he's already coming out of the pit with his intermediate tires, trying not to speed in that pit lane. But as soon as he comes out, we'll see. All right, yes, it looks like Pedro's still in first, still having a 36-second lead over Dreamer, who has also chosen the pit. Understandably so. It wouldn't do a ton of good for Dreamer to pass and then get past again because the tires were off. And you can see the rain falling nearly sideways here. Icemanlow's decision to snap pit, probably a good call. Now back up into 6th place. However, he's about 27 seconds behind, as Ghost, also having pitted, 20 seconds behind Pedro Proenza. Dreamer 36 seconds behind Ghost. So the front of the pack really stretching out at this point. Icemanlos making up some lost time. Overtakes now as does choose to pit. As choosing to pit and go to those medium tires. Excuse me, I think it was as. I thought I saw a pit notification. Perhaps I did not. My apologies, but now we have the entire field on intermediate tires, not on wet tires just yet. But we are starting to see some battles going on here in the back half of the pack. 11th through 14th place, we've got some folks who are pretty tight in. So a little bit of a twist here in today's race. Another 3-second time penalty for Eufapio for multiple warnings. And here we are, 1/3 of the way done with the race. Lap 21 out of 63. Pedro Proenza still up front, 21 seconds ahead of Ghost 9568, who himself is 17 seconds ahead of Dreamer 1609. Some of the closest action currently taking place in the middle of the pack here. Yeston Takimaini, 0.4 seconds behind Icemanlos. Icemanlos himself about 5 seconds behind Esco 606. Uh-oh, it looks like Jestim has spun out. Jestim now passed by Icemanlos and Az. Some stuff going on here. We see Iceman and Az battling there. So we actually managed to catch that in first person as we saw Jestim briefly spin out. My goodness gracious, look at all the penalty flags out right now. Everyone from 10th through 16th place has a penalty flag, and then it alternates. 8th place, penalty flag. 6th place, penalty flag. 4th place, penalty flag. And 1st place, penalty flag. So everybody coming in for some penalties here in this race at this point in time. All right, Ice Manlos looks like he's trying to lap Fabio here. Hopefully calling this out doesn't jinx it, but even with the rainy, slick weather we've currently got on the course, we don't see that we have not had the safety car come out yet. We're 23 laps in, 40 laps to go. But Pedro Perenza, just awesome driving today, has had this first place position in a hammerlock since the very beginning of the race and has refused to let go. So we have seen him very confidently racing, even shifting to the intermediate tires. He seems very, very calm and in control. Nothing wild going on up here at the front of the pack. He's now 24 seconds ahead of second place Ghost 9568. The top couple of racers, in addition to Pedro, Ghost 9568 and that Orange Crush, still putting some distance between himself and Dreamer. Dreamer back here in the in the Alfa Romeo, in the Italian car, doing quite well himself. Esca 0606, however, right behind him by about 2.5 seconds, looking to catch up, looking to get back into this race. So the whole pack spread out right now, with some folks getting lapped, some folks trying to lap others. It's a very broad pack here. All right, and I am back, folks, as we enter lap. The virtual safety car is out. Dude Height has retired from the session. So we got a DNF here for Dude Height, who is currently in 14th place. But, of course, we just see Joni happy now, and Ufapio will pass. As Esca 0606 gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Eufapio, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. So the virtual safety car is out. It took until lap 26 and an absolute downpour, but we did in fact see the safety car today. All right, Pedro Proenza shifting from intermediates to wets. Lots of people actually shifting to wet tires. The downpour obviously pretty intense. So, here I was thinking that today was not going to be a pit-heavy day. And this is the third pit for a lot of folks at this point. Pedro Proenza, of course, still leading the pack by about 33 seconds. But moving to those wets, not looking to deal with the intermediate level issues. Oh, almost overtook the virtual safety car there. So Pedro, now maybe we'll see the pack compress a little bit. Lap 27 out of 63, so just a hair under 50% done with the race. Not much action here with the virtual safety car out, of course, but we are headed towards the finish line. I'd expect the virtual safety car to disappear here before too long. 10-second time penalty on Eufapio for corner cutting. We actually have the actual safety car out. an interesting thing I'm reading here right now about the difference between a safety car and a virtual safety car. The real safety car, as we are seeing here on lap 28, causes the field to bunch up. A virtual safety car is a bit different in that there is, of course, no actual safety car deployed. However, it does require that all racers reduce their speed by about 30% under what is considered standard lap times and standard sector times. So that's why you see when the virtual safety car is out, you still see racers roughly maintaining their relative positioning. But I'm sure Pedro Parinza not exactly happy about this. With that 20-plus second lead that he had now wiped out here by the presence of the safety car. Everybody except for Soldier One Assault on wet tires right now. Soldier One Assault and Fabio, excuse me, both still on intermediates. All right, well, the safety car is now gone. We're seeing folks start to push a little bit. But we do see it looks like ESCA 0606 maybe having some trouble back there. Yeah, ESCA 0606 separated from the pack here, though with all the time penalties, still in 10th place. Tahariel in 11th place, technically a minute and 48 seconds behind ESCA 0606, despite being well ahead of him in the current pack. So some wild stuff going on here with the penalties. As we check out the front of the pack again, Pedro Parinza about 4 seconds ahead of Ghost 9568. Ghost about a second ahead of Dreamer. Dreamer 4.6 seconds ahead of Ice Manlos. Ice Manlos 2 seconds ahead of Soldier One Assault. We've got a race control 3-second time penalty on Az in 8th place for multiple warnings. Wow, look at all the penalty flags there. Everyone in the top 6 except for Ghost 9568 has a penalty flag. Soldier with Assault and Avocado Sewell also unpenalized. Everyone else, however, penalties. This is a little bit like, oh my goodness gracious, a little bit like Oprah Winfrey. You get a penalty flag. You get a penalty flag. You get a penalty flag. And we do see now at this point we have 3 folks who are not going to finish.